Alright, so good afternoon everybody. Welcome to the first edition of Life as a Lockdown Ranger here at Buffalo Thorn Lodge in Black Rhino Game Reserve. My name is Ivan. I'll be your ranger or virtual ranger. I'm also the lodge manager at Buffalo Thorn Lodge. Behind the camera is Jumari. He's going to be doing all of our videoing for us. And basically what we're trying to do is a virtual safari while we're all in lockdown. You can see what we as rangers do behind the scenes. We'll be out in safari and just basically giving you a little bit of information as we go along. Alright, so I hope you enjoy. Alright, so everybody, today we're going to be teaching you a little bit about tracking and just basically how everything moves, how the story behind what's left here. So if you have a look at this particular little track, it's absolutely adorable because it's one of the newest additions to the Pilansberg. It's a tiny little baby white rhino track. So basically you can see the size difference. That's basically still a little bit smaller than my hand, whereas Mom, which is over here, is considerably bigger. Alright, so basically tracking is an art. It takes years and years and years of basically learning the way of how to track, and some of the key features or key things to do while tracking is basically to try and put the sun between yourself and the track so that there's a bit more contours that forms in the track, the shadows are more pronounced, and then basically by looking at it, for instance a white rhino, you've got the small little toes on the side and then a slightly bigger one that is touching each other in the front. So basically that is the front foot going that way. Now you can probably see where Mom was going in the road, and then both of them veered off into the bush. Okay, so basically another thing with tracking, the different foot structures, very important. Obviously, for instance, like us humans, we are very primitive. We have an extremely primitive foot structure. So basically we have a plantigrade foot structure. We plant our whole foot on the ground. Now when you start going towards your more evolved species, like your cats, your dogs, so your lions, leopards, hyenas, they've got what's known as a digits grade foot structure. So only the digits are touching the ground. We'll show you a few of those a bit later. And then your most evolved foot structure is the unguligrade foot structure, which is your antelopes, and basically they are standing on their tippy toes, and that's designed for running at high speeds. Okay, so let's see what more tracks we can find, or maybe we can find these individuals. Alright everybody, so basically we follow those tracks down the road, and they came to this particular area here, and just to give a bit more information of what's going on here, as you can see it's quite a large midden, and basically what rhinos do as a common courtesy, when they are moving through an area where the territorial bull is in an area, he will actively demarcate his territory and basically depositing his droppings into a big midden like this. Now your big bull, your big dominant bull, will actually scrape open his dung, so basically making sure that it's more pungent, stronger, and then any other rhino that is in his territory will come by, and as a common courtesy they'll check into his midden and basically let him know that, hey, we're in your territory, we're just passing by, heading to some water. And basically if you want to have a look at the diet of the rhino, you can see it's very dark in color, it's still quite fresh, and basically your white rhinos only eat grass. So it's very dark in color because there's a lack of tannin. Tannin being the basic mineral that turns it quite red. And basically if you think about your red wine, the darker your red wine, the more tannin in it, the more bitter the wine. Okay, so if there was a black rhino that deposited its dung here, they will use their same middens to actively demarcate their territory. Obviously they're not the same species, so they don't compete for the same food. But basically a black rhino's dung would be very reddish in color, almost like elephant dung, and also you'll find little sticks inside because they eat leaves and trees. Okay, so let's see if we can find them.
Sometimes we take it for granted, but just sitting here, listening to all the sounds, you just get to grips with what life is actually about. Wow, okay, so guys, basically what we spotted here was a brown hyena, and Pilanesberg itself is actually a flagship park for the brown hyena species. We don't really have spotted hyena in this reserve because spotted hyenas are actually considered as an apex predator and will outcompete the brown hyena and even the lions on certain aspects. So that's a great find. We don't see them that often. They're quite elusive and shy, and just to basically see them moving about at this time of the day. Up until recently, they were actually considered as being solitary mammals, but after due research and studies, they've actually picked up that they are more social than we thought. They actually den in a communal den, having their own social hierarchy, and basically at nighttime they go their own separate ways, they go their own different directions, foraging and looking for any scraps and food to eat. The noise and the sounds is basically deafening of all the animals around. And to sit here and watch the sunset is basically a blessing for us here in the Black Rhino Game Reserve. Right guys, so we just bumped with this big male here. He's one of our local males. He's probably about a kilometer away from the lodge, so we were actually sitting by the lodge and we could hear him roaring and came out and had a look and we found him here. So hopefully he gives us a bit of a show, gives us a bit of a roar. But
Hou vas. Span jou ligte voor.
so to everybody following us on our social media accounts, have a blessed day, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your week.